we just got done talking about some rules that we can incorporate to help Jackson, feel more of as in the follower position. One thing that confuses a lot of dogs as to their authority is if they can tell the humans what to do. Now, we want our dogs to come and tell us, bark at us, I got to go outside, potty, or something like that. But if the dog comes and nudges you or leans against you or scratches at you when it wants you to pet it, and we pet it, we're telling the dog, yes, you can tell me what to do. You have authority to tell me what to do, because when you tell me what to do, I do it. So I consider petting a dog our way of paying the dog. Right now, you guys are paying the dog for doing what he wants. Now, if you can imagine, how would your work life be if you got to tell your boss when to pay you and what to pay you for? You'd probably be pretty horrible employees, because we get paid to do things a lot of times we don't like. Now, hopefully, some of us find jobs like me. I love what I do. But it can be confusing for a dog if it gets to tell the humans what to do. So the next time he nudges at you or scratches at you, instead of complying with his order, I'm going to ask you to give him a counter order. Ask him to sit or to lie down. Sitting and lying down are more subordinate positions, so it's a more respectful, more of a follower body mechanic, number one. Number two, it helps introduce the concept that I have to earn my praise. I don't get it for nothing, I have to earn it. Now, if you get everything you want for free, after a while you take things for granted and you don't really appreciate them. So oftentimes when we pet a dog, especially if we have a dog like this, and I saw that there are times where we're petting him, trying to console him when he's being aggressive, and that's agreeing with him. So we certainly don't want to do that. But let's say he's just being nice and he's just asking for us to pet him, ask him to sit. Once he sits, I usually scratch the dog under its chin. When a dog is proud about what it's done, if this is the dog's nose, the nose is parallel to the ground or tilted upward. Dog might have a toy or walk around the house feeling really good about himself with his nose in the air. That means he feels good. So I want him to feel good about doing the things that we want, sitting, coming, and laying down. So when we pet him, try whether it's petting with a purpose or elsewhere, try to pet him exclusively under his chin. Now, if his butt is here, his head is over there, I don't have to reach around to pet him under his chin. I can scratch his butt too. But if everything is equal, scratch him under his chin. Now, I like to say the command word only. A lot of people talk way too much to their dog. Oh, Jackson, you're such a smart dog. You sat down. How did you get to... We didn't even say the command word sit. So when he does the action, we should say exclusively the command word. If he sits, pet him and say the word sit. Not good sit, not Jackson sit, sit. If he lays down, what is his command for lay down? Does he have one? Yeah. Okay. So I like to come up with fun command words, especially when you have a dog like Jackson where he's the cause of some stress and anxiety. So I don't, my dog, if I don't want my dog to lay down, I say crash. I say crash and she flops down to the ground. And just like a lot of you guys did, a lot of people will smile and laugh when she does that, and she feels so good about herself for doing that. So I would have you guys come up with a fun command word. You don't have to say crash. You can say chill or prone or whatever you want, but try to come up with a fun command word. Now, what's going to happen with petting with a purpose, and I would also recommend that you guys stop petting him at all unless he earns it first. Now, once he sits, you can pet him for an hour after he sits. You don't have to say sit the whole time. You say sit as soon as you start petting him. Then if you had a bad day, you want to say, Jackson, can you believe that guy honked at me when I, give me the bird when I honked at him to stop him from hitting my car? I prevented the accident and helps him, and he yells at me. If you want to vent to your dog, it's healthy. Just make sure when you're commanding the command or assigning a command word, you only use that word the same second that you deliver the treat or that you give the affection. What will happen is after a couple of days, he's going to start longing for that attention that he used to get lavished on him. And he's going to come start sitting in front of you because that seems to be when you pet him. So now he's adopting a desired behavior. When he does this, we want to make sure we acknowledge it and reward him for doing so by continuing to pet him. So I like to use my hand motion like this. Now I can't do it with Jackson right now because he's going to react. But what I do typically, if the dog's nose is here, I hold my hand cupped, not closed, but just slightly cupped. So from his perspective, this is his nose. I'm a little bit above his nose, so he can't see that I have anything in my hand. Now, when you first do this, make sure you have something in your hand every time. But if you tilt your hand up and then track up over his head, and keep it within about 6 inches of his head, as his head goes up, his butt is going to go down. As soon as his butt hits the ground, lower it, scratch him on his chin, and say sit. After a while, you'll be able to use that hand motion to put him in a sit without even thinking about it. Now, the more, again, he's going to transition into I have to sit to earn my praise or lay down to earn my praise. If you get in a habit of doing this and exclusively pet him this way, every time you pet him, you engage in a mini dog obedience training session without thinking about it or spending any effort doing it. It is a gift that you can give yourselves that will help him identify as a follower position and will also make it easier for him to sit when you ask him to sit when he wants to go outside for one of the rules or waiting for dinner or when you're out on walks or whatever the case may be. So petting with a purpose is the easiest thing that you're going to do that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. One last thing is if you see your partner petting the dog and the dog's standing, I usually say paycheck. That means you immediately stop petting the dog, ask him to sit again, and then pet him and say sit. Then if you would ask the dog that before your partner came in, then you say, I asked him to sit actually before he came in, but hey, I appreciate you giving us another opportunity to practice the sit. But it's going to take you a couple days. You won't even realize. You're going to reach over and just petting him for no reason. I literally was having a conversation with a woman. I'm like, I'm going to ask you not to pet your dog until he does something. She's like, okay. And while she's saying, okay, literally leaned over and started petting your dog. She wasn't unaware of it. So it's going to take you a couple of days or a week to get into a habit of it. When you do, it becomes a very powerful way of making him earn it and helping him identify as a follower. So that's petting with a purpose.